awakens. Preston Dennett, joined by Dolly Saffron, guiding you beyond the veil and into the infinite unknown. Every week we unlock high strangeness, extraterrestrial contact, hidden realms, psychic awakenings, the afterlife, and secrets they don't want you to know. Step through the gate, and if you feel the calling, subscribe to the channel and share it with those ready to awaken.
It's one of those days. Sorry. Welcome to the Light Gate. It is the first Monday in March. Hi, everyone. We're coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast. We are on Facebook. We're on Roku. We're on Rumble. And we are on YouTube. I'm having a long day. Trust me, it's been a long day. Anyways, our sponsor, we want to thank very much. Carnation, we love you. They've been with us for almost a year now, and we love you very much. Y'all keep checking them out. They're one of the best types of milk that you can buy. Powdered, you name it, they got it. Easter's coming. Okay. Preston, go.
Thank you, Dolly. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Gosh, what episode is it? It's 148. Can you believe it? Episode 148 of The Light Gate. So happy you could make it. This is going to be awesome. We have a really wonderful guest, a super interesting topic. I am tremendously excited. I do have one quick announcement. I finally finished translating all my videos into subtitles of 170 plus different languages on my YouTube channel. So if you speak Haitian Creole, there are captions for that, or Swati, or Zulu, or any other,
yeah.
I mean, you name it, Azerbaijani, all of them. So that was a tremendous amount of work, but we're really trying to reach out to people all over the world. And we know we've been successful at that, because we hear from you guys all over this planet. So thank you so much for all of you who are tuning in from wherever you are tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Okay, do want to say a quick hello to you folks. I loved starting the show this way, and I just can't give it up, even though it kind of cuts into our show time. I'll be quick. Promise. Hi, Astrid. Glad you could join us from Sydney, Australia. Very cool. We have Teresa Levine. We have Louise. Rocco Guida, making it for the first time. Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Very nice of you. We have Arvo and Janie Mashburn. Thank you, Janie. We love seeing you here.
We love you. Yeah.
Olivia Escamilla. Awesome you could make it. We got Johnny J2B. We had a nice crowd already. It's awesome, you guys.
Knoxville. We're near Knoxville. Okay.
We have Painting the Sky Kingdom.
Oh.
We have Jay Kirschenman from Virginia. Awesome.
Hello.
Another regular, Patsy. Hi, Patsy. Hope you're doing really well. Really nice to see you here. And namaste. We love you so much. Don't know how you do it. We owe you endless gratitude, and you have it from us. You're an angel on earth. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Yep.
Cherise Bazila. We have Texas Cacti and Aussie QTR. QQR.
Mm-hmm. Q2R.
Q2R. I have a feeling that means something, but I can't quite unpack it. Okay. Yeah, if you have questions, definitely let us know. I put in stars next to it, so thank you, Johnny 2J. Cherise, look at that. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's awesome. Texas Cacti, thank you for joining us. We have Lil Dove. And Perennial Philosophy. Okay, I'm just about at my time limit to saying hello. We love you all. Hi, Kay. Kay Hansen. I see you there. Michael Kennedy. Awesome. Perennial Philosophy. We have Shelley. Divinity is Purity. We have Rocco Macri. We have Gizmo. We've got 2 Roccos today. How cool is that? Okay. We have Dottie PNU sending lots of love to all.
Aw, thank you. Love that.
Oh, that's a good question. Aurora Comedy Vids. I'm going to put a star on that. True Heart Intent. Good evening. All right. Time to start the show. Let me put up the banner of our guest so you know who we're talking about here. There it is. All right. So excited. I was really, really wanting to bring this guest on, and I was so happy when he said yes. Tonight, our guest is Larry Messoline. Larry Messoline is the son of Judy Messoline. You may have heard of her. She is the founder of the world-famous UFO Watchtower in Hooper, Colorado. Watchtower and adjoining gift shop and garden opened in May 2000 and quickly became a popular local tourist attraction. And not just local. People are coming from all over the world. Since then, thousands upon thousands of people have visited the Watchtower, and no surprise, many of them have had extraordinary sightings. Judy did author a book called That Crazy Lady Down the Road. I don't think she's crazy. I think those who don't believe in UFOs are crazy, personally. But our guest tonight, Larry, now runs the Watchtower. Larry grew up in Golden, Colorado. After graduating high school, he joined the U.S. Navy and retired in 2004 and has worked as a dispatcher and jailer and county emergency manager before going to police officer standardized training, post, and working as a road deputy for Rio Grande County Sheriff's Office. I bet he's got some interesting stories about that. But tonight, Larry will be sharing the fascinating and ongoing story of the famous Colorado UFO Watchtower. Gonna visit it one day. I've been to the San Luis Valley, but that was before this was actually constructed. But it's such an interesting story about how this came about. So we're very much blessed to have Larry joining us tonight. I will bring him on. There he is.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Welcome.
First of all, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this.
No problem.
I'm very excited about it. It's such a cool idea. I don't know that there's any other I think it was the first, as far as I know, certainly in the U.S.
Still the only one we know of.
Wow. Very cool. All right. So as I warned you before we started the show, I usually like to start our show by asking our guests, what were they like as little kids? Did you believe in UFOs? What brought you to where you are today, heading this really amazing and unique structure, the UFO Watchtower?
Well, it wasn't anything that I grew up with. I grew up on a horse ranch in Golden, Colorado. And I didn't even ever heard the word UFO until after I was in the service. But my childhood was a blast. My mother, who started the Watchtower, she was just so much fun growing up. I mean, you never knew what was going to come next. You just didn't. Anything from teasing each other to having water fights in the house and watching my dad scream. Just the way that it was. She was a lot of fun. The Watchtower actually started kind of as a joke, believe it or not. My mom was a waitress down at the cafe. She was trying to make extra money because she was a failed cattle rancher. And the farmers would come in for their breakfast in the morning and they'd talk about, did you see that in the sky last night? Did you see this in the sky last night? And so one day, my extremely facetious mother popped up because she's a lot of fun. And she goes, I just need to open a place where people can go look for those UFOs. And she laughed and went back to work. So anyway, a couple of weeks later, one of the farmers came up and said, Judy, you might be onto something. We see this stuff all the time.
Yep.
So she built it, and we're at almost 26 years. I've only been working there and trying to take it over for the last 2 years. I was living down in South Texas, and she called and said, I need help. So I packed everything up, came out, helped her, and this is actually the best job that I've ever had. Ever.
I can imagine. It must be really interesting. So I understand that, because I wrote this book, UFOs over Colorado.
Uh-huh.
and this kept coming up. The UFO Watchtower. I ended up doing a video like, what are the top 20 UFO incidents in Colorado? And that made the list because it's so interesting. And I remember reading that people were actually camping out there in hopes of seeing UFOs. So she finally just said, you know what? Let's build this. So how does that go about? Did you have to get permission? Did she have to get permission to build this?
Well, she had to get a building permit and stuff like that, and get her business license and do everything that you have to do to have a business. But other than that, we've had full support from the county. We've had full support from the valley itself, and that really helps.
Well,
I imagine that you bring tons of tourism to the place.
There's a lot of tourism that come in, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a feeling that your county loves that, you know.
why would you?
Yeah.
They make the money out of it.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about this area, the San Luis Valley? And
there's been documented sightings in the San Luis Valley since like the 1400s. Between the 14 and 1600s, when this was all still Mexico, the conquistadors came through, and they came through a lot, and they actually documented UFOs in their journals right here in the San Luis Valley.
Wow.
Amazing.
Are those journals hanging around somewhere?
I don't know if you can get them at the library or not. I know I've been trying to get my hands on them, and it's been not very successful. But we have got some of the stuff from the Native Americans where they talk about the ant people and the star people and that type of stuff. There's documentation, good solid documentation on it. But I do know that these journals exist. It's just a matter of getting my hands on them.
So interesting. This is not far from the Great Sand Dunes National Monument, right?
No, you can see it from the Watchtower.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was there when I was a kid. We tried to get to the top of them. Of course, it's a lot higher than it looks.
Right.
Trying to climb those things. But very, very beautiful area. How big is the San Luis Valley? It's pretty darn big, isn't it?
You can fit, what do they say? There's 2 Delawares in the San Luis Valley.
That's big.
Wow.
That's pretty decent size. Wow.
Why do you suppose it's such a UFO hotspot?
That I get asked that question a lot, and I don't know the answer other than the fact that it's been happening for so long that the locals don't even get worked up about it. If I'm really lucky, I'll be walking through Walmart or something, and somebody will pop up and say, "Hey, Larry, I saw this the other night." So I'm like, "Well, why didn't you call me when you saw it so I could go see it too?" But yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's such a hot spot. I know there is a lot of thermal energy through the valley, and historically speaking, most of your UFO sightings are around places like nuclear power facilities, major power plants, that type of stuff. We don't have any of that stuff here, and that's what makes
magnetic anomalies or anything like that.
Well, there are some magnetic stuff, and if anybody comes to the tower, I'll be more than happy to show them, because I call it Larry's magic compass trick. There's a spot there that you can actually walk due north and with your compass, and you can do it with the compass on your phone. You can do it with a magnetic compass, whatever. And when you get to a certain point, the compass actually rotates. Sometimes it just goes east, sometimes it goes all the way to south or west, or it just depends on the magnetic pull at that moment.
Yeah, that's a magnetic tricuspid, and I'm interested in talking to you about that. I have a question for you. Do you know? So when you're standing on the tower, do you know what direction that anomaly is at? Line of sight? Can you see it? No. Dang.
I know.
You gotta be
Is there
way
any
high.
military bases near there at all?
Nope. The closest one's in Colorado Springs, and that's 3.5 to 4 hours away.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool. Because I remember looking it up, because when I was doing research, that there's fairly large mineral deposits as well,
right,
going up through the center of the state there. But I'm not sure if that would be a factor here.
Well, we've got a fault line that runs right through the middle of the valley, and along with that fault line, there's thermal pools and thermal water that comes through. And that's why we have so many hot springs that are scattered throughout the valley, is because that's how they can make the alligator farm work, is with thermal water, because obviously alligators don't survive in negative 20 weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact answer. I have really tried to figure that out myself, but I get asked that question a lot.
Yeah. Well, Christopher O'Brien, who I'm sure you've heard of.
I've got his book.
Yeah. What is it called? The Mysterious Valley and Enter the Valley. And
Oh yeah, those are the only two I've got.
yeah, me too. He definitely documented that there's something unusual going on there.
Right.
Not just UFOs, really all kinds of stuff.
Now, see, he used to have, in the house that I'm living in now, which is my grandmother's old house, he used to have cameras up on the roof here to try to capture something from my house, because my house is, I mean, a sneezing distance to the watchtower.
Okay.
So, but he had cameras up there, and I don't know what he ever captured. We never heard.
All right. Well, can you here? I'm going to throw up a picture of the watchtower. Can you describe it to us? How its dimensions and so forth?
Yeah, it's the tower is 10 feet in the air, which from the tower it seems like you can see forever. As far as the actual dimensions inside the gift shop, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to guess about 20 by 20. But from that picture that you're showing me there, there's we built a museum onto the back of the watchtower, and the museum is for Snippy the horse. And Snippy's the first documented livestock mutilation. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But other than that, the watchtower itself, I think, sits on 20 acres. And it's open year round, but the museum and the gift shop are only open on the weekends during the winter, just because we don't get any really during the week.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Very
How
cool.
How long did it take your mom to build that?
I think it was 2 or 3 years. I was actually in the service when she said she was going to open it.
Oh wow! Did she do it by herself, or did she have help?
Well, she had help. Her significant other, Stan Becker, he helped out a lot. I mean, he put a lot of labor into it, and then they paid somebody to put the actual dome in.
Wow,
that's cool.
Well, I hope it's been profitable, because that's had to have been an expensive venture.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Like I said, I was in the military. It's kind of a funny story. I was in the military when she called me, and it was the beginning of cell phone type era. And she called me and she said, "You're going to think I'm crazy." And I said, "I already think you're crazy." And I said, "What are you doing now?" And she goes, "I'm building a platform for people to go look for UFOs." And I teased her. I mean, I mocked her and everything else. And when I hung up the phone with her, my buddy was sitting there, and he says, "You do realize, right, that that's going to be your inheritance one day?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Nope." I said, "That can go to my little brother." Well, my little brother lives in Sacramento, and I'm taking over the watchtower. So my inheritance one day.
He was right.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, was it popular from the start? I mean, or was this something that kind of slowly grew on people? Or
I don't know what happened in 2000. Like I said, I was still in the service. I didn't retire till 2004. But by the time I'd retired, it was pretty busy over there. It really was. I mean, always the parking lot was full. And especially in the summertime, the campground fills up, and we have customers coming from 10 in the morning when we're open till 5 at night when we close. And it's like I said, it's just a lot of fun and a lot of people. We've had thousands and thousands of people.
Wow. Do you know how many people visit per year? Average?
I'm going to have to take a guess and say probably 1,500 to 2,000 people a year.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, do people like? Okay, this is the thing that people do when you go to things like this? You either write back and say, here's a copy of a picture that I took there, and this is the story, date and when. Do you ever get people sending you stuff like that? Do you have like
Yeah.
a wall in the museum? Oh, that is
Oh, yeah.
totally cool.
We've got a book, and our book talks about all the sightings that's happened since we opened. There's been 312 sightings from the Watchtower alone since we opened. My mom has seen 30 of them, I think, and I've seen 2.
2. Okay.
All right. Well, let's go there. Talk about some of your mom's sightings.
Okay. The one that she always talks about was like she said it looked like a cigar shaped object or a tic tac or however you want to put it. And I guess she's seen that one several times. I don't know if she ever got a picture of it, but I do know that people have taken pictures and have sent them to us, and that's what they look like. It's a long object.
Wow. So she's had 30 sightings. Wow. What about you said you had a couple yourself?
Was actually, it was in February of 2024. And I was sitting in the shop. I didn't have any customers, and I'm just kind of staring out the sand dunes and the snow on the mountains. And it was, like I said, it's February. So, and a light appeared right over the sand dunes. And it was pretty neat. It was just a light, but I was like, what is the sun reflecting off of? And I kept looking at it. When I finally got the click in my head to go grab your binoculars and see what the heck this is, it took off like a kid released a rubber ball in a room. It just bounced side to side, up and down, all the way around. And again, I'm in complete shock and awe. I mean, I can't even deny that. Then it registered, get a picture, get a video, get something. I reached for my phone, and when I did, it shot straight up between the mountains there and dropped down and just flat disappeared.
Wow.
So that was my first sighting. October of that year was my second sighting. I went out. The northern lights were visible in the San Luis Valley, and I went out to I was taking pictures trying to get the northern lights. I never did get the northern lights, but I got a UFO, and I filmed it for 52 seconds. And this thing never left my screen. It bounced back and forth. It was such sudden movements. It was just amazing. I had to edit the sound on it because I said some choice words in the process. But the initial thing was great, another damn satellite, because that's what it looked like. It wasn't even blinking. And then it shot across the sky. And in the time that it took me to switch to video and get ready to start recording, it shot back to where it was. And it stayed right in that same area, just bounced back and forth. But I did get a video of it. Y'all still there? Hello? Dolly, Preston? You guys are all frozen up. Okay. I see you now.
All right. Yeah, we're
Still
back.
frozen. You're back.
All right. Well, Dolly's trying to get back in, but we're both in. Dolly, Larry and I are back in, but we can't see you, so hopefully you'll figure that out. Poor Dolly. All right, so let me see. Where were we at? You were talking about your second sighting?
Yeah.
All right, could you start over with that?
Yeah. I was able to film it for 52 seconds, and but when I first saw it, I was like, great, another satellite, because it wasn't blinking. It just kind of shot across the sky and then came back, and then it started blinking. And when it started blinking, then that's when
All right.
I started filming, and I got 52 seconds of it before it just flat disappeared. It just vanished.
Wow. All right. Well.
I could email that to you, but
Okay. Let's see here. Because I remembered looking to see if I could find some sightings, and I've got a little list of them here. Because you said that you have a book. Now that's a book that's actually at the Watchtower that people write down their stuff
yes,
in.
yes, and send us pictures and everything else.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Let's see.
And we also have a book from 2000 to 2023 with all of our sightings in it too.
Wow. What would you say has been the best one that you've heard about?
My favorite one, we've got a kid that comes out, and I call him a kid just because I'm older. But he comes out and he takes panoramic pictures of the mountains every couple of years. And he got a picture, and it looks like it's on our side of the highway. Okay. And it was just a little speck. But it was close enough to the parking lot that it left a reflection in one of the cars, in the fender. And we've got that picture. The kid came out in July, and because he sent me a picture of the fender blown up, but he didn't send me a picture of the craft itself. And when he came out in July, I said, "Can you do me a favor?" And he said, "Sure." So he sent it to me. While he was there, he was taking panoramic pictures of the mountains and caught another one.
Wow.
Yeah, and they both look almost identical. They're kind of a cigar shape, Tic Tac shape, whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me see. It opened in May 2000. I think the first one I'm showing was on May 29th, Memorial Day. Someone came to visit the tower and saw two star-like objects racing across the sky. One stopped for a second, allowed the second one to catch up. Both darted away. Next week, more saw 5 star-like objects, and one of them instantly began moving in the opposite direction. So I'm wondering if these ETs, and I think that's what we're dealing with here,
Right.
know about this watchtower and purposefully put on displays.
We've wondered that too. We really have wondered it, because it's like when I got that one in October of 2024, when I started filming, it didn't leave my screen. Because I kind of thought, I'm not going to tape this video. If it leaves, it leaves. I'll start another video. But no, it stayed there for 52 seconds, bounced back and forth, and then was just gone.
Wow.
So
That's very, very cool.
yeah.
Have you ever had one come down within a 1,000 feet, or
I haven't.
have other people though?
To be perfectly honest, I haven't heard of any.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. I'm just saying I haven't heard of any.
No, so no ETs showing up and wandering around.
Sit there behind that cash register all day, praying for ET to walk through that door.
Well, you never know.
Okay, so daytime sightings versus nighttime sightings. Is there a difference?
Yeah, we get more daytime sightings than we do nighttime.
Oh, wow.
Usually people going out and they're taking pictures of stuff, and then they go back and looking through their pictures and, hey, what's this?
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one that from Candace Nolan, early June, with a group of researchers at the tower when a circular object with red, white, and teal lights. Teal, that's blue, right? Teal?
Mm-hmm.
Blue.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the researchers, this is so cool. This is why I wrote about it. One of the researchers flashed twice with a 250,000 power candle power flashlight, and the object blinked back twice.
Yep.
It blinked at it again, and it blinked too, and then moved off and blinked twice more and went off. So there you go. There's absolute evidence that they're aware of, the people.
What we're doing, yeah. And something else we've noticed too is we see them a lot when there's music being played.
Oh, that's
When
good.
what?
Music.
Yeah, like live music. When we used to do the conferences here, um, I used to actually sometimes. I mean, there's times I brought my band in. There's times I've done it just by myself, and I go in and I sing and stuff. And by doing that, people sit outside the building and they like, look at that, look at that, look at that. So they seem to like the live music.
Well,
That doesn't
yeah.
surprise me. I've heard of people doing CE5 groups, where they try to calm them down.
Mhm.
That seems to work for some reason. I don't know. Certainly interesting, though.
Right.
So here's another one which I thought was interesting. When your mom, Judy, was at the tower with several others, when a bronze-colored, cigar-shaped object showed up, and she wasn't going to mention it until everyone else started shouting it, but your mom said it scared one gal so much she left.
Yep.
Has that happened a lot? People are like, oh my gosh.
It's never happened to me. But yeah, I remember my mom telling me about that story that one lady got so scared she left.
Wow.
That's funny. Be careful what you ask for. If you're going there, what do you expect to see? So I imagine you've had people from all across the world showing up there.
Yeah, we get people from all over the world. We got a lot of people from Sweden and Switzerland this last year.
Really?
Yeah. We get a lot from Germany. We get people from China and Japan. They come from all over the world.
Yeah. In Sweden, it's become very popular to go hoping to see UFOs, because in Sweden, they've got an astrophysicist out there now who's really brought it into the public eye. And her name is Beatrice. And she's very big out there on national TV on Canal 4, Fyra. And so I'm not surprised you're getting a lot of Swedes. That's amazing. So that's kind of
cool. A lot of people from Germany and France. We get a lot of people from France too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you have a garden there as well since opening the UFO Watchtower?
We've had over 30 psychics come in and say the exact same thing, and that is that there were these two vortexes out front. One of them spins clockwise, the other one spins counterclockwise. They overlap in the middle, and where they overlap is called the Vesta Pisces. I'm not 100% sure how it started, but because it was before my time, but people started leaving little trinkets of their own energy out there.
Okay.
Psychic said that we needed to put this garden in so that people could go pray to their higher power. They could ask for healing. They could meditate, whatever it took, so that they could heal or whatever, get whatever they want. But people started putting little trinkets of their own energy out there, and so the garden is more like an art piece. It really turned into a little art piece.
That's
amazing.
It's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
Here I've got a picture of your mom with a little ET statue. Well.
Yep. How did the statues come about? Did somebody make them and bring them out there to y'all, or did you make them? Or
bought all those. I think she just bought them.
All right.
Okay.
Not even a fun story with that one.
Okay, here, let me see what else we got here. I wanted to.
Now, I have a question for you. I know you're in the desert, the high desert. Okay. Do you ever have rain out there ever?
Yeah, we get rain.
When it's raining, do you see them more often?
No, not really.
Okay.
It snows up there too, right?
Yeah, but it's like we don't get as much as the mountain areas do. But it does snow.
Have famous UFO researchers ever showed up there? Anyone well known?
We've had a bunch of UFO researchers show up, and I'll tell you, I don't know if I'm getting off track here, but the pilot that chased the UFO that came out the water next to the USS Nimitz.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Into the shop summer before last and talked to me for about 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. About her chasing that UFO.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a female pilot.
Yeah.
Okay. I found that
And
interesting as
they were on approach to land on the ship when the thing came out of the water. And so she requested permission to follow it. And they just told her, don't engage it unless it engages you first. And gave her permission. She said the G-force was just amazing trying to keep up with this thing. She said it was moving so fast.
Yeah.
Wow. So your mom actually wrote a book about her experiences. The crazy lady down the road.
Maybe down the road. That's my mama.
Do you know what inspired her to write this book, or it's just?
Well, it's just a story on essentially how the Watchtower started. And like I said, I mean, I was in the service when she was writing the book too. So, but she just decided that she needed to tell her story, and she's telling it.
That's amazing. And you mentioned this. Do you all have UFO cons out there? Do you have gatherings of UFO people and stuff like that? Or
It got to the point that my mom didn't want to do them anymore because she said that it was just getting to be too much work. Now I'm taking it over, and I'm looking at starting that stuff back up again. I'm looking at having more vendors out there. I mean, I'm trying to really broaden the horizon a little bit.
okay.
But I would like to start doing the conferences again and getting the speakers back out here and stuff.
Yeah, I think
That's
that would
cool.
be a good idea. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot. I mean, the interest in this subject is growing so fast right now. That, why not take advantage of it?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned Snippy the horse. So can you tell us a little bit about that whole story?
Yeah, Snippy's the first documented livestock mutilation. In September of 1967, Snippy went missing from the herd for 2 full days. He didn't come in for food or water. When they found him, he was about a half a mile from where he should have been. He was stripped completely clean from the tip of his nose to the area around his shoulder at the second rib. The bones that were exposed looked like they'd been sitting in the sun for over 20 years. His carcass, as well as the area around him, tested positive for radiation. I stand next to that horse all day, every day, and I'm thinking he's not radioactive anymore, or I'd glow in the dark. But a local veterinarian did an autopsy on him, and his brain, pituitary glands, all of his internal organs and sex organs were missing. They were gone. His right leg was separated at the hip, his left at the knee. It looked like he had been dropped. After the 4th day, this stuff started growing around the body and over the bones and stuff. And I don't think they ever had it tested, but I was told that it was the consistency of butter, is what they said it was. In fact, the owner found a pod on the ground. She picked it up and was playing with it. It popped in her hand. And when it did, it was that stuff, and it burned her hand. So whatever it wasn't friendly. But within 60 feet of where the horse was found were 4 very large indentations in the ground, and the vegetation was knocked down like something had landed there. I always thought that was urban legend, but last August, I actually saw the pictures of it, and I was just in complete awe. So, yep. And the owner did say that the night that the horse disappeared, that there were 2 flying objects flying around her house. And when asked to describe them, she said it was dark and she couldn't find her glasses, but they looked like they were made out of aluminum.
So this is the actual skeleton?
That is actually, yep.
Damn.
That is him.
Poor Snippy.
Yeah,
we had Katie Page and Joe something or other. I forget his name. Anjola?
Right.
Yeah. Angela. Yeah.
Who have they just put out a book on this case.
Right. We've got the book here too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a strange event for sure.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think Judy said at one point there was more than 100 people coming per day.
Right.
And
How far away are you from that place where he was found?
Within 15 miles. It's like when you take the road going to the sand dunes.
Mhm.
There's 3 cattle guards that go up there, and as you pass the second cattle guard, it'd be right there on the south side.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you never thought about UFOs growing up, even though you're kind of in this area?
Well, I didn't grow up in this area. I grew up in Golden, so but yeah, I mean, never even thought about them. I was so busy with my own little world as being a kid, you know, that I
Sure.
never thought about them. But once I got in the service, I was actually standing lookout watch one night, and this thing come flying across the sky, and I reported it, and they told me there was nothing on radar.
Wow. What did it look like?
It was just it was dark, you know, it was nighttime, so it just looked like a light coming across the sky, but it came across quick, and then it stopped, and it hovered, and then it took off again. And I reported it, and they said that there was no such thing.
Were you thinking UFO at the time?
Yeah, at that point, I was thinking.
Where were you guarding? What base?
Oh, I was actually on the ship. We were out in the middle of the Mediterranean.
Ah, okay. All right.
That's
Did
kind
it
of
have a particular color to it, or was it just a white light?
White light, and it wasn't even like some of the ones that we've seen, you know, where they're blinking or anything else. It's just white light took off, and it came flying across the sky. It was up there a ways, but yeah, they told me it didn't even exist.
Of course. Is that the only thing that ever happened to you in the service in terms of UFOs?
Allegedly, when I was stationed in Suda Bay Creek, allegedly there was a UFO that was hovering over Hanya Harbor. And when all this happened, we all got recalled back to the base and got locked down. So I never got to see it, but I did see one newspaper article on it, and then it just went completely blank. Nothing was there. There was nothing else reported on it or anything else, but there was a picture of it hovering over Hanya Harbor.
What did it look like?
I didn't get to see it, but they just said it looked like this big craft, and it was huge. It was about the size of the harbor. But like I said, I was locked down on the base. I didn't get to see it at that point. So
Yeah. What year?
this was in 2004, I think it was.
Yeah, they. I don't think that was a UFO. I think that was back engineered, and y'all got brought in because they didn't want you to see it.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a reason to know about it, you were locked down. You know,
Exactly.
you're probably bringing something in that they had worked on, but they have them that big in their stuff. That's crazy. Right. It's crazy.
That's wild. So do you know if Christopher O'Brien ever had a chance to see the Watchtower?
Well, yeah, he'd been here a lot of times.
Oh, okay. I would think so. Yeah. We interviewed him here on
Put a
the show.
camera in my grandma's house so that he could look at. I mean, so it's right here.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's so sad that he passed on.
Yeah, it really was.
It was quite a shock, actually. But he's an amazing researcher. He really nailed it down that the San Luis Valley is some kind of a hot spot.
I know.
Right.
I find it interesting. Has Ancient Aliens ever come out there and done a piece on y'all, or
Ancient Aliens? I'm not sure. I know that the Travel Channel has been here. I know that the Discovery Channel has been here. I know that
what about Gaia?
Huh?
What about Gaia? Has
About what?
Gaia ever? Gaia TV, GAIA, Gaia.
I don't, to be honest with you, that I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a lot of help today, huh?
It's okay.
It's all interesting stuff.
Yeah, no, you should be like in my mind, y'all should be covered coast to coast. Everybody should know who you are. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who you were until I met Preston, and then I started looking around and seeing things, and I came across y'all in a YouTube thing, and I saw it that way, and I was like, wow, I had no clue you existed, none. You know, I know about Area 51 back then, and I knew about the black mailbox and stuff like that, and S4 and all that, but not y'all. And
Yep.
wow, you should be headline news. You'd think a crew would come out there and, you know, after all this time, at least brought one crew out and sat with you overnight, you know?
Well, we've had a lot of people that, you know, podcasts and radio interviews and stuff like that we've done that's been worldwide. So
Well,
this is actually, believe it or not, this is my first podcast. I have never done a podcast. I knew nothing about what I was expecting to be in. And
oh my goodness. Wow.
That's awesome. Great.
You'll be famous
Or
now.
your
No kidding. Yeah.
just my mother going, "You're doing this one," but I don't want it. So yeah, this is okay. You guys are good people.
We're having fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Okay, here's what. Yeah, let me see. I gave the Watchtower the #2 spot on the most interesting events in Colorado. So I didn't realize I rated it that high, but here's an interesting story from Judy, which occurred in July 2002. She says, and I quote, "I had a young man walk into the shop. He was hanging his head and very quietly said, 'I think I was abducted.' He proceeded to tell me that he'd been hunting last fall over by Gunnison. Don't know where Gunnison is, but I guess it's in Colorado.
An hour and a half here.
All right. He says he lay down to rest on a rock with his rifle across his chest. He remembers looking down at the trees around him. He felt like he had amnesia. When he came out of it, he was missing 3 hours, and his gun was 20 feet away." So she said there's a lot of people coming in there just to sort of unload and share their own UFO stories because they have no one to talk to.
Right.
That's very
Well, when
cool.
I saw that light in February that was over the sand dunes, I had a guy come in the day before Memorial Day weekend started. That same in 2024, and he said, "You're going to think I'm crazy." And I said, "What?" And he said, we were camping last night, and we were camping at the sand dunes. And he said, "My only question to you that to me, you know, I mean, I didn't see it." And he says, "I'm telling you, it was lit up like daylight." And he showed me where it was at and what it told me what it did. And it did everything that I told you that I saw in February. You guys there?
All right, I'm in.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking. Are we all back? Okay. I just found out I did some background checking, and it's our network is being interfered with right now. Just saying. And I had to go to another type of a network while we were on. That's what brought us back. Hopefully we'll stay here. I don't know.
I had to do that connecting with you guys.
Okay, so somebody's messing with us. They don't want to hear what you have to say. That's crazy. Okay, where were we?
The guy came in it was like 3 months after I'd seen what I saw in February, and he said that that the whole area behind the sand dunes was lit up like daytime, and he was surprised nobody reported it. He says, and he was sitting there watching it, and he said, and it just kind of took off and bounced all the way around the sky, went up in the air, shot back down, and disappeared, just like I saw.
Hmm. Is somebody in the chat mentioned a base called Aurora?
I
Is
have
Aurora-
heard,
I know there's a city called Aurora.
yeah, and Aurora's got the Space Force base.
Okay, so that's there. How
Oh.
far away is that from y'all?
5 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, that's not actually that far.
Really not, if you think about it.
Yeah. All right. Wow. Okay.
Is there much wildlife in that area? Is it?
Oh yeah,
also-
we've had everything out here from bears to bull snakes. I mean, it's just
very cool.
yeah, it is pretty cool. We don't have a whole lot of deer here, but our property across the road, across the highway, every now and then there's a little herd of elk that show up out there.
Oh,
Lots
wow.
of coyotes. Lots of coyotes. We got lots of fox.
So if someone wants to, you said the watchtower is open at certain hours or it's closed?
Actually, you can come in as long as people continue to behave themselves. They can come in anytime. I'll leave the gate open. And the only thing is the gift shop and the museum's closed. But during the summer, 7 days a week. So, but they can come at night and they can check it out. We just ask that they are respectful and pay their $5 admission.
All right. That's cool. That's
That's
very
very
nice of you, actually.
Very
Where's
reasonable.
your campground? Is it right by the watchtower, or is it a little bit further away? Or
Right next to the watchtower.
okay, how many spots do you have?
26.
26. That's a good number.
Yeah.
You have like full hookups and everything, like water and electricity, or is it totally off grid?
We've got porta potties. And we can get them some water if they need water.
Okay.
Because it's all on our property anyway.
Mhm. Cool.
I think what I'd be most interested in is checking out the diary, the UFO diary at the watchtower.
Yeah.
That,
Very interesting.
you might consider actually publishing that.
Yeah.
Sightings from the watchtower.
We've got that from 2000 to 2023. That we've already published that.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
cool.
in the,
Well, now I got to
Yeah.
look for it. Okay. Wow.
is that in Judy's book? Or is that
Yeah,
a
it's
separate one?
not in that book. No, she just that book came out in 90 something, or no, in 2002, I think, in 2003. It was while I was still in the service because she had me going through and reading and editing. The sightings book has only been out for a couple of years. Obviously, we're in 2026, and in 2023 or 2024 is actually when she did the book for the sightings for that 23 years of.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness. That's a
What's
long
the
time.
title of the book? I didn't
Yeah,
see it.
23 years. Yeah.
Huh.
That is so amazing.
The title of the book is Sightings from the UFO Watchtower, 2000 to 2023.
All right. Well, that makes sense. I'll have to look for that one up because I didn't see it. Oh, here it is. All right.
You found it. It's on Amazon, right?
Yep. Here, I'm going to grab a picture of it real quick so that I can show people. 'Cause I was going to say, that is definitely something I think people would be interested in reading.
Yeah, and we sell a lot of those.
Oh, good. That's encouraging.
Right.
'Cause,
Okay, so tell me the most interesting story that your mom had happen while she was out there. I mean, off the wall, whatever, just the most interesting night that y'all had or day that y'all had out there.
That one that Preston mentioned was probably the one because, again, it scared somebody off. Other than that, it's just these things that come to the sky and he, I don't know, like I said, my mom did.
Well, we're having such technical difficulties today.
I know. Put the picture back down. Bring him back up. Maybe that'll help satisfy the use of it.
There we go.
All right, hold on. Are you back? Not yet.
I'm here.
Hold on. Oh, good. Okay. All right. See, one of the things that I was thinking the whole time we've been talking is, have you ever seen something flying and seen military going after it over your area?
No, I've never seen anything flying, but I've seen military jets coming over the top of us. It's like there was no tomorrow.
Okay. That's
But
amazing.
we get buzzed by Black Hawk helicopters. We get buzzed by the military jets. We've had intelligence planes come over the top of the watchtower. So, what they're chasing or what they're going after, I have no idea. But
Only they would know. Try not to figure it out too much. They're busy. Oh,
that's right.
Yeah.
It's the government. We still don't ask questions.
Okay, I want to pull up another picture here because I found this in that book there, where someone actually put out a drawing of what they saw. And here we go. Let me see. Hold on one second here. I'm clicking all over the place. Why can't I pull this up? Oh, here I am. Sorry about that. Okay. Doink. So people have seen actual solid craft.
Okay, that actually was a picture that was drawn by one of the psychics. She said that was actually underneath the watchtower. And the stuff that you see that's kind of coming up around it, she said it was like a moth.
That's odd.
Yep. Yeah. We've had the psychics tell us that they see this thing moving up and moving down and moving up. Well, we sit right on top of the aquifer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
But yeah, the little squiggly line thingies that you see on that bottom picture is like a moth.
All right. So apparently there's something going on there. All these different psychics are saying the same sort of thing.
Right. That's what we say too. It'd be different if it was like one or two people come in and say something, but you've got that many people that come in and say it. At some point, you start believing it.
Okay, I'm pulling up another picture. I can get to it. Did you ever have any UFOs come up during your time as a officer patrolling Colorado?
No, but when I was a dispatcher, I had a lady call one day from South Fork, and she said, "I know you're going to think I'm crazy." I get that answer a lot. But she said, "There's this thing hovering over my house," and she said, "It's scaring me. It's freaking me out. My whole house, the lights coming in my windows," and she was just kind of in a panic. So I sent a deputy out there, and the deputy was literally 3 minutes away from where he needed to be. And the lady called me back and said, "It's gone."
Interesting.
So, but when she called, she was in a panic.
Wow.
Yep.
Has the military ever shown any interest? Have you ever had military folks showing up?
We sure have. The Chief of Naval Operations sent some officers out to interview my mom about 10 years ago, I guess it was. And they spent 2-3 hours with her, asking her questions and everything. They left. They sent her later on down the road. They sent her a disclosure agreement. She signed it. We sent her a 300-page report on UFOs. I haven't seen it because she told me she's not going to jail for me. So,
yeah.
Wow, 300 pages.
300 report. And I even asked her, I said, "Well, did you read the report?" She goes, "It's 300 pages. I didn't read that report." So I don't know what's in it, really. I mean, I think she read part of it, but.
Well, if it's coming from, the folks who are involved in the cover-up, I'm not going to put too much stock in it anyway.
Yeah.
Just
That's
saying.
right.
Were they like CID or were they?
They were naval officers. I think the lowest ranking one was a commander. Um, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they sent some O1 out there to talk to her. These were the chief of naval operations sent his people out.
Sounds like she was being debriefed.
Yeah, well, the one officer, and I thought this was hilarious because I was there when she was talking to these guys because she was a little worried about it.
Yeah.
And the one, he never took his glasses off, his sunglasses.
Huh.
And I told her, I said, when it was all done, she said, "Didn't you think that was weird?" I said, "He was videotaping you." So she, at that point, she was like, "I didn't even know glasses could do that." Well, yeah, they can.
Yeah.
And they've been able to for a while. So, but yeah, they had, he never took them off and he's always looked right at her. And then if there was something that she was pointing out in the book or something like that, of course, he'd put it down there so he could get pictures of it. That was it.
Wow.
Yep.
So
That sounds like Black Ops to me. I'm sorry. Wow. That's amazing.
Now, we've had people show up in black cars, no license plates, get out wearing black suits, white shirts, and a black tie, look around, take some pictures, get back in the car, and leave.
okay. That's a little odd.
Let me ask you a question. Was she asked at any time by those guys, did she ever feel compulsory to call the military and report any other sightings that they had for any reason whatsoever? Did they ever ask her that?
I don't remember them asking her that.
You see, this concerns me because there's a set type or number of a flavor of questions that set military will ask you. Okay.
Okay.
And this would be at the top, they'll say things like, at no time and in no way did you ever feel compelled to call the military to ask for, confirmation of something. Did you ever call our tower? Did you ever this? Did you ever that? Did you ever call for assistance in anything here? Have you ever let us know that you've had a sighting? Things like that. They will literally ask you that question because the military in their infinite wisdom thinks that they own everything and everybody in every area that they're in. And if you have things happening around you, they should be apprised of it. See what I'm saying? And if the civil authorities are not calling them and telling them, surely she would have had the brains to do it. They would have asked her that. But if they didn't, that was interesting to me. Why not?
Right. And like I said, I mean, I was there. I don't remember that question. I'm not saying ask it. I'm just saying I don't remember it. Because again, it's been 10 years. But the questions they were asking, it was like the first thing I wanted to know was everything about her.
Yeah.
Okay. I think determining if he was crazy or not. The thing they were asking about was different sightings and like you had asked, daytime versus nighttime, that type of stuff. They, I just don't recall, and they may have asked that question. I just don't recall it.
Wow.
In the wisdom of the military industrial complex, okay, everybody is suspect in what they see and what they know outside of the military industrial complex. Okay.
Right.
And you have somebody that has regular sightings and they've gone out of their way to make sure that they get to see regular sightings. They are 100% suspect and they will look at you first, like you're some sort of toad under the light, and they're going to figure out why are they visiting you. They have a 100-point agenda of figuring out why you. What did you make this happen? Is it occurring naturally around you? They got billions of ways to try to figure it all out, and they will assess you. And they were recording her for her responses. They wanted to see if she's telling the truth or not. And the fact that they've left you alone since then for like 10 years, that's good in my estimation. That's really good. And
military service members that come in, because we got Fort Carson's just on the other side of the mountain from us, and but generally.
One of
ones
the
that
other
I know.
observations, yeah, one of the other observations that I've made during this conversation is that I pointedly wanted to know if what type of sightings you were having, the frequency of them, whether they were day or night or whatever. That's important. But the fact that she had somebody come out, and then I ask you, do you have news services out there asking you questions? Has TV come into this? You know, History Channel, how much activity have you got there? They own the media, okay? And if they want to suppress knowledge about y'all, they're perfectly capable of doing that. And I think that that's happened a smidge. You know what I'm saying? I don't think
Right.
you're out there as much. And the fact that we're your first contact on the internet like this, a podcast, I find that fascinating as heck. And trust me, boy, you just got exposed big time. Lots of people know who you are right now. Okay. And,
Okay.
and we're talking millions of people worldwide because that's what our numbers are. And you're probably going to have an uptick because of it. And you might get visited again. I don't know, even by association with us.
I'm all about it.
Yeah. And I think that this is a great way what y'all are doing, honest to goodness, because we're not going to get word of this. We're not going to get confirmation of the existence of ET from our governments. We're just not. Okay. They're just going to blah, 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 and they worry about contactees. They worry about observers. They worry about people who do CE5s and stuff like that, you know, and anybody on that radar for them, there's a possible threat to what they say. So keep mindful. But I'm glad you published the book. Praise. That was wonderful. I'm so happy you did that, you know, because now I'm going to go through it. The most obscure sighting you think might not have any bearing on the matter. And then suddenly to a researcher who knows what they're looking for, there it is. Oop, there it is, you know. And this is going to be fun. I'm so glad you showed up today. I so am. You have no idea. We all need to know the truth, you know, and you got a backyard seat to this.
Right.
You know, I think that's totally cool on both sides of it, because it's not just ET that you've probably observed. You've also observed back engineered stuff as well, you know, because that's the area you're in. It's crazy. It's going to be fun. I know.
Like I said, this is the funnest job I've ever had. So,
I bet.
I am. This isn't something where I just stepped in and knew everything. I mean, I'm still learning it all.
Learning, yeah.
So hey, everybody, Duchess. Oh, here's our dog.
The dog showed up.
He's huge. You're a good girl, Duchess. Okay.
That's a question. Do you all have any pets out there?
Yeah.
Do you have any house animals?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 5 dogs here. I've got 5 dogs here. We've got 4 horses and 5 cows, and my mom over at her place has another 3 dogs, and so we've got pets and animals.
Okay.
Awesome. So I'm going to pop up a question.
My dog. Good.
Here's a question from chat. I think you kind of already answered this, but Greg is asking, can you ask if you can just use the Watchtower without camping? And do you need to book? So do you need to make reservations?
No, you don't. You don't have to make reservations for camping, and you're more than welcome to come to the Watchtower whenever. You don't have to book anything.
Right.
All right. But yeah, pay the $5 donation. That's reasonable.
Yeah, just make it $5.
What do you have going on in the gift shop?
We have all sorts of alien and UFO related stuff to sell. T-shirts. We've got all sorts of T-shirts and sweatshirts. Coffee cups. We've got flasks. We've got everything all the way down to wallets, stickers. I mean, we've got a little bit of all of it. So
that's cool.
This looks cool. Really cool. I think that's also from the gift shop.
Yep. Actually, that's hanging back in the museum.
Oh, all right. Very cool. So now if someone wants to go visit,
I lost y'all again.
So sorry, Larry. Not sure why that keeps happening, but we're dealing with it. So yeah, my question is, for people who want to find the watchtower, can you give directions like where the highway is or how to get there?
Well, it depends on which direction you're coming from. From the south side, the easiest way is to take Highway 160 to Highway 17 and come up 24 miles, and it'll be on the west side. Again, if you're coming from Denver or from north of us, you would take Highway 285 to Highway 17 and come down. I think it's 33 miles. I think it is.
All right.
Can you hear Larry?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
I can't hear Larry.
You can't?
No, not at all. He's not even in the picture. I don't know what to do. Oh,
I see him. He's here.
okay. Oh, there you are. Okay. Wunderbar.
Okay. I want to show everyone some of the pictures again. Such a beautiful spot.
So can you walk around on the top level?
Yes. It's a whole platform up there.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Is that a telescope up there? Oh, no, that's a flag.
I love the flag.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. It's a really, really beautiful area. I've been there, but not the actual site itself. Look at those mountains.
I know.
Those are the Rocky Mountains, I presume?
Those Rocky Mountains. Those are Sangre de Cristos.
Yeah.
All right. Boy.
So is that dome the gift shop?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, this is an older picture. So off the back of the dome is the museum now.
Oh, okay. Wow. That must be you standing up there. Nice.
There's benches and chairs and stuff up there, so you can.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. There's a picture in here I'm waiting to get to because it's really. Look at all those alien statues. That one's a little blurry, but
Neat.
I like this picture.
I love that picture.
It's a good one. That's the dome. All right. Here's an aerial shot.
This is nice. I like this. Okay.
That's
even better.
This is the view the UFOs get. They're looking down at you. Okay. There's the alien statues.
That's the entrance rate coming in.
All right. Another ET.
It's funny. Okay.
It's very cool. It's very, so people leave their little trinkets all over.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Death Valley. There's tea kettle dome or something. Everyone leaves a teapot. So it's very fun. Okay, here's the book again. Still trying to get to this one picture that's really beautiful. All right, UFO Information Center. Oh, here's the one.
Look at that. Like that. Oh, look at that. A double rainbow.
Yeah.
That's absolutely beautiful.
Very cool.
How much rain a year do y'all get?
The entire year?
Okay,
probably
so
4 or 5 inches a year where we're at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So
see, we're actually at the lowest part of the valley. And storms usually just blow over the top of us.
all right.
How do you get your water?
From our well.
You have a well. Fantastic. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. One of the biggest aquifers around.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that. It's an enormous aquifer.
How convenient. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one of the reasons. So here's the actual address, 2502 County Road 61.
Yep.
Is that right?
That's
Center,
correct.
Colorado. All right.
And the only reason why it's Center and not Hooper is because Hooper's in another county.
Oh, all right.
So we're only 2 miles outside of Hooper.
And for those who are interested, do check out the show notes because there's links there. And here I'm putting them here on the banner. This Watchtower does have its own website, both website and one on Facebook as well.
Yep.
And while I'm doing that here, I've got another question here. Let me see. This is kind of an interesting one. I don't know if you can answer it or not, but it's interesting. This is from Helena. I wonder if the phenomena is spiritual as well as visual at the Watchtower. So I guess she's asking, have people had weird psychic experiences?
It is very useful.
All right, very cool. And Dolly, here's a question for you, which you've answered before, but we may as well. Do aliens have pets?
Yeah, absolutely. They have pets.
Cats and dogs?
What we call cats and dogs, yeah. Birds. Amphibians. They don't really keep fish. They eat fish, so, it's not something they would keep.
All right. Yeah, in terms of it being spiritual, you've had, the psychics showing up there. That's very interesting, all saying the same thing. But have people had other like ghostly experiences or anything like that you're aware of?
We've had, we get a lot of orbs out here, especially around the garden where those vortexes are at. And yeah, you can go out there in the pitch dark and snap pictures, and they're all over the place. They're just, as far as a ghost goes, I don't know. I've never seen one of those either. So,
all right. Let me see. Evan is asking, and again, I guess you're going to have to just estimate on this. How many sightings per year would you say?
It varies. I think we had 14 this year, I think it was, or this last year.
All right.
It varies, but I mean, we have years. We've had a couple of years where there were no sightings at all, and we have years where there's, again, like I said, last year I think it was 14.
Now, do you have a Skywatch camera that will run all the time? Just take snapshots of the sky every, with a broad range, view on it at all?
No, I've got game cameras out there.
Okay.
And, they kind of serve the same purpose. If there's movement, it'll snap the picture.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I saw
what you might get to see on a like a VHS or a digital camera that's running on slow-mo over a long period of time. You have the ability to capture something unique because they're so fast. They can fly right by you and you don't even see it. But if you're slow motion filming all day long, you might capture something that way.
We have a guy that comes out every year. He was here this year. I don't know. I don't think he caught anything here at the tower this last year. But up by Bonanza, which is still here in the valley, he caught one that was literally flying straight down Highway 285, right over the top of cars, and nobody even knew it was there.
Wow. All right. Where did I see that other question? Oh, yeah. Scarlet Fire is asking, has anyone ever had missing time there?
Not that I'm aware of, not at the tower. I do know that I stand up on the tower quite often and say, just come and take me. I need a vacation. So, but as far as people missing time at the tower, I haven't heard anything, but I know that people in the valley have reported it to me that here in the valley, they've lost time.
Well, yeah, Christopher Bryan's books about this area are definitely worth reading because there's a lot going on. Yeah, there's people who in the Watchtower book talking about seeing some unusual animals as well. And I said a deer crossed the road, but it didn't look like a deer and its eyes were too big. I don't know. Yep. Something along those lines. But yeah, this book looks really interesting. I'm so glad you published that because that one, people really want to know what's going on there. I think that's probably why the government showed up, because this is a spot which is working hard towards essentially disclosure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is not what they really want people to do or know about.
Yeah.
So let me see here. I saw, here's another sighting from your mother. On Father's Day, June 19, 2000, she saw a string of silver objects. She thought they were mylar balloons until they stopped and began to start maneuvering around. Ran to get her binoculars. When she returned, they were gone.
Gone.
So if they were balloons, they probably would have still been visible somewhere.
Yeah.
There's quite a few sightings. It's amazing that it's been so successful. Some of these are flashed red, blue, yellow, green lights, making erratic movements. This is November 24, 2001. 7 people standing on the tower saw them hovering above the great sand dunes, stationary, and then moving erratically, were observed for 1 hour until they disappeared. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Wow. All right. So, do you have any other interesting stories about being a police officer? I find it interesting, just generally.
Oh, I loved working in law enforcement. I got hurt when I was in the service, so I had to cank that thing pretty quick. I was only a road deputy for like 3 years, because my disability came in and I didn't have to worry about it anymore. So, but I don't know. All I did was fight drunks. It felt like so.
Now, Colorado is also famous for the Salida sightings on August 27, 1995.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about what was going on in Salida, but I do know that they still have a lot of sightings up there.
Wow.
Salida. Okay, I'm mispronouncing it.
Yeah. I have a question. How many times did you all have multiple people sighting there? And then did you ever call the constable, the sheriff's department there and see how many people were calling it in from around the area? Did you ever get confirmation like that?
I don't think we ever did that.
Oh, yeah. You ought to go get into their logs. I'm not kidding you. And start checking dates. I'm not kidding you. Find them. I think you're allowed to do that by law, right? They're supposed to open them up to the public when they want them.
Information.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really interesting area. The whole sand dunes. Just going to see the sand dunes is also a nice little side thing there because it's beautiful there, and that also is a very mystical area. But yeah, when I wrote UFOs over Colorado, I found sightings going well back over 100 years. In fact, in 1929, there was Colorado's first UFO photo was taken by Edward Pline. They heard this big loud noise and a large round thing as big as a very large boulder moved through the air above it, right over the sawmill, and it made the whole ground shudder. And it clearly, you can see this photo online, and it clearly shows a disc-shaped object. Now, Cheyenne Mountain Complex, is that very far away from all of this?
It's just on the other side of the mountains from us.
Oh, okay. Now, Dolly, you know about the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, right? Let me see, how big is that thing? That's a military underground installation, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
It's bunkers. And they got, intercontinental missiles there.
Let me see. Yeah, there's a report in there from a guy who was 19 years old, and apparently they're tracking all the incoming and outgoing traffic, and they see UFOs daily out in space on their radar. We have a state Colorado Senator, Sam T. Taylor, who in November of 1955 saw UFOs over Colorado. So we've got senators seeing this stuff. People always ask me, how come no world leaders, how come no one in government is ever seeing UFOs? Of course they're seeing them.
Jimmy Carter has seen UFOs.
Yep, he did. He did. While doing something official, he saw one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in a motorcade going somewhere to do something, and when he got out, it was right there above their heads, and
Right.
he and two security officers saw it at the same time. And he had no problem talking about it either. I mean, if you asked him, he'd tell you point blank about it.
Yep.
Yeah, when I also wrote about Colorado, I found out that there was a bunch of sightings over the Colorado State Penitentiary. For whatever reason, UFOs are attracted to anything technological. And I guess
Right.
prisons is one of this, because there was a series of sightings over the same Colorado prison.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting. But lots of waves of sighting. Colorado is a very active state.
Yeah.
There was another very interesting case which occurred near Longmont, where husband and wife were brought on board, and let me see, he was healed of melanomas on his legs after being taken on board a craft.
Mm-hmm.
So, very, very interesting cases throughout Colorado. There was another very famous one by a meteorologist, Robert Rinker, March 22nd, 1967. He was at Chalk Mountain in Climax, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
This is at 11,000 feet, and took a photo. Didn't see anything in the photo, but the photo itself shows this enormous glowing disk.
Yes.
So, all kinds of stuff going on. And here's another one which I found super interesting. This is at Colorado Springs. May 13, 1967. This comes from Donald Kehoe. Radar operators at Colorado Springs were looking at their scopes at two different stations, which showed an aircraft approaching the airport, but visually no aircraft could be seen. The radar scopes showed solid images as it flew over the airport at a height of 200 feet, and it looked like an F-100 or an F-104 interceptor, what it would do if it were practicing a landing but not actually touching down. So this came within a mile of the airport and then took off, and they never saw it. It's on radar, but it cannot be visually seen, which makes me wonder if they're out there all the time, they're just not showing themselves.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why I find the daytime sightings out there where y'all at real interesting, because it's very rare everywhere else for that to happen. No kidding. That's not
Right.
their usual MO. And boy, oh boy. So I'm going to be like looking for the photography of everybody out there. Do you all have a photo gallery there? Are you going to publish a book with the photos in it?
It's our book was published with the photos in it.
Oh, good. Okay, so we're going to look for that too, Preston. I want to see them. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, well, you have to buy the book.
So, okay, buy the book. Happy birthday. Okay.
Here, I'll pull up the book again.
Yeah.
For the UFO sightings from, so 23 years it's been going on. That's amazing. Very, very cool. So Judy decided she just got too much work, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I contacted her and she's like, no, I'm not really doing interviews, but my son will do it.
My son.
Yeah, you're taking over now. I'm being nosy. How old are you? How old are you? What year were you born?
Me?
Yeah.
I was born in 65.
55. Okay.
I'll be 61 years old in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Oh, all right. We're the same age.
65. Yeah, you're the same age as Preston. Yeah, your mom's probably getting, tired now because she's at least 17 or 18, 20 years old.
Actually, I'll be 81 years old, so
yeah.
she's tired.
Well, I hope people do come to visit it. Now, that as a result of this show, because it's just a cool place.
Yeah.
And just the garden itself is awesome. And
That's amazing.
Pull that up
Really
again.
amazing. Have you ever pulled anything out of the garden to put in the museum? Or you just
No.
left it alone? No.
No, it stays in the Until it turns to trash, because sometimes, especially if it's plastic and we're in a desert, it eventually breaks down. But unless it turns into trash, we don't even touch it. It stays right where it's at. If for some reason the wind comes through and blows something out of the garden, we leave it where it's evidently nature said it needed to be.
Yeah.
We don't even pick it up and put it back in the garden. We leave it where it landed.
What kind of plants are those in the top of it?
Plants?
Yeah, it looks like a tree or something.
Oh, that's the starting of the vortexes. They're just a couple of dead trees that are on both sides of the garden.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I like this. Please do not move or remove anything in the garden. Bad karma if you do. That's awesome.
That's totally awesome. You know.
All right. How do I pull this down? All right. Let me see if we have any other questions here in chat. I don't see anything. Okay, here's one for you, Dolly. Lost Alex. Do abductees ever say what happens if someone has to use the bathroom during an abduction?
Yeah. Well, I know what happens. You're taken to a toilet. They have, I guess it's something like an incinerator toilet, on board, and you're taken and you can go to the bathroom. They do have that. They have the same bodily functions we do. They have to have somewhere to go, and you get to go there.
Is it bathrooms like here? What are they?
No, it's just like a space that you go into, and the door. They don't let you shut the door. They stand aside so they're not looking at you, and you sit down, and there's a piece of paper in it, and you go, and then they close the lid, and it drops down like an incinerator. It's incinerated. They just use a different type of power,
All right, Scarlet Fire is saying we should have a meetup there this summer. That'd be fun.
Come on.
Yeah.
Preston, I need to take 2 minutes. I got my phone and my earbuds are dying, which is really weird.
Uh-oh. Okay.
All right, go ahead. That's fine. We're approaching towards the end here anyway, and looks like we've covered it pretty well. So if you guys have any questions, now would be the time to ask, because we just have a few more minutes here. But darn interesting. I'm sorry that I've never had a chance to get out there yet, but one of these days, I'd love to do that. Here's something else interesting about Colorado. November 2008, Jeff Peckman introduced a referendum to the city of Denver to create a 7-member commission to handle extraterrestrial affairs. This was an actual municipal initiative, Initiative 300. They wanted a budget of $75,000 that would depend entirely on grants and donations, would take no city money, and its purpose was to help legitimize the UFO subject and create transparency and cooperation between citizens and government.
That's wild.
He needed 3,000. Oh, are you frozen?
I'm not.
All right, we made it back. All right, Dolly's trying to get back in. I was just talking about how Jeff Peckman introduced an initiative to legitimize the UFO subject who needed 3,974 signatures to qualify. and he exceeded that number, submitted the initiative. 2010, the citizens voted, and the number of people voting yes was 31,000. The number of people voting no was 145,000. 85% voted no. We don't need a UFO commission. Too bad. I wonder if that was 2010. Let's do that again. I bet it would be different. Okay, Larry, here is a question for you from one of our listeners. Perennial Philosophy. Their question is, Dolly's back. Hi, Dolly.
Hi.
Okay, the question for you, Larry, is what would you ask E.T. if you could ask them something?
Thought about this question a million times over. My first question for them would be, why here?
You'd get an answer back. They'd say straight to your face, why not?
Well, that's cool. They give me an answer of some sort. So
Yeah.
that was the first question. I mean, my questions that I think about are they go all the way to how does your ship fly? Okay, because
Ooh.
they beat all physics. Just doesn't, they take physics and throw it out the door to make these things fly.
Actually, they
So-
don't. It's physics that they haven't understood here yet. They use graviton wave technology. They don't have a propulsion system. It's totally different. Not even close. And
Okay.
it's a graviton wave. Y'all don't understand this yet, but all gravity is electrical. Okay.
Right.
Gravity has different flavors. Okay. But it's all based in electricity. And where they say there are big holes in space, black what do you call it, dark matter, that's graviton wave bubbles of graviton wave energy that's all just floating there. And the reason you can't see anything in it is because it warps lenses out. You can't see it. It just looks empty. That's why you can't see in a black hole, because of the gravity lenses around it, and you can't see in it. There's something in there. Okay. And so they use graviton wave technology. That's why they have that. It's like a big cylinder that goes up through the center of all the craft. They create a wave that's so strong it goes up through that, and then it hits emitters, and the emitters move it around, and they create a warp bubble, a graviton wave bubble around the craft itself, and then they create another bubble around that to protect them from incoming things when they travel. And they create what's called, this is the reason we call this the light gate, is because they light gate. They, like Einstein's, theory, they fold space, but they gate through it, and it's a dimensional gate. They go from third, fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, cross any amount of space they need to in a second, and come out on the other side.
That's
By the way,
interesting.
yeah, and you can shoot down wormholes. They don't exist. It's a failed theory. Okay. Black holes are not singularities. There's actually something in it, and it does spit energy out of it. Okay. Energy doesn't go there to die. Matter doesn't go there to disappear. It's munched up and then shot back out in its pure form. And the only reason you can't see it is we don't have the eyesight for it. We don't have the ability to see the energy, because our eyes can only perceive a range of energy, very finite. Okay. And they have different eyes from us. They're also a billion years in evolution to us, not hundreds, not thousands, not millions. They're at least a billion years in advance of us. And it's all real interesting to me. But yeah, that's how they fly. That's why you see them. When you see them, they can go, you can't see them sometimes. Sometimes you can. Sometimes they're going at Mach 7, okay, which is 27,000 feet per second, okay? And it's, your eyes can't see that. We shudder, like you got a video camera, and it takes ding, 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 ding pictures, to the lens, through the lens to the, where it's creating the copy of what you're looking at through the lens. Well, your eyes do that to your brain too. And your eyes shudder, or the light shudders to your brain, and it goes ding, 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 ding. And they're so fast, you can't see it. It's like it passes your eyes before you can even mark it as an object in your view.
Right.
So that's, yeah. We don't have that technology here. You would die if you tried to go that fast. The G-forces alone would kill you because you don't have graviton wave technology here. But they're trying. I mean, I'm sure that they've back engineered enough things to know all this stuff, and they're trying. They're trying to come up with it. I doubt they ever will because they don't have everything they need to create that technology. They're very like in the dinosaur age right now. That's why Elon Musk wants to put chips in your brain. That's why they've created psychic sensors and the ability to read your mind and stuff like that. And why they're trying to build androids, autonomous AI, right. All that kind of thing.
No chip in my brain, thank you.
Mine either.
So yeah, I was just looking at Christopher O'Brien's stuff. All kinds of incidents, cars being chased down the road, lifted up, people being taken on board, fleets of UFOs, all different shapes of UFOs. Have you noticed that with the tower, that people report different types of craft?
Yep. We've heard of ones that were square. We've heard of I keep mentioning the cigar-shaped one because that seems to be the most common. We've seen them where they were triangles. Perfect triangles.
Were they black?
Yeah. Huh?
Were they black?
I'd have to go back and look and see what their report was, but they weren't bombers. If that's the question.
Actually, they're called TR-3Bs, and they're back engineered triangular UFOs or UAP, as they call them.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff people seeing these days is us.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I had a guy come in. He worked for Lockheed Martin. And he was a physicist there or something, and he says about 95% of what you see in the sky is us. He said it's the 5% we don't even know how it flies.
Wow. He's absolutely correct. Yeah,
it's crazy.
They don't have a clue, and they've tried. Yeah. That's one of the reasons they started letting females into the Air Force to let them fly is they found out that females actually have really, really good reflexes over males, and they become more flexible pilots when they fly. They can overcome situations that male thinking doesn't allow. Okay. And you now see it's not 50-50 yet, but it's closing in. There are just as many female pilots as there are male, and they do just as well, sometimes better. And what's interesting is that I can tell you point blank that ET uses mostly female pilots. Almost all of them are female, and they've known that for years.
Women drivers. I've always thought they were better personally.
Yeah.
All right, we're have to wind it up here. We're at the top of the hour, and we have another show coming after us. But
yeah,
we want to encourage everyone to check out this book in particular. Also, the other one, Crazy Lady Down the Road. This one is newer. UFO Sightings from the UFO Watchtower, 2000 to 2023, in their own words, by Judy Messoline. Very interesting book. I just looked at the beginning of it on Amazon. So that's fantastic. And let me just flash the.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Finger list questions. They can email me at UFOWatchtower@yahoo.com. And I'll be more than happy to get back to them.
That's awesome. I think everybody, I'm going to bug Preston about it. We should come out there and check it out. I mean, I really want to now. It sounds so beautiful out there.
Well, my sister lives in Colorado, in Mancos, I think, or around there, outside of Mancos. So,
yeah, we could go stay with her and just show up for the day and then, camp out and then come back. No, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. And there's some very interesting other things to see, like the sand dunes.
You can do that. I'll stay down on the bottom and watch it.
No, I'm too old to climb up the sand dunes.
I'll bring my chair, and just sit there. How you doing?
All right. So anything else you want people to know about what's going on? We've covered it pretty good.
Welcome everybody that comes in, and we really look forward to seeing people.
All right. Well, thanks, Larry. That was a lot of fun. I knew it would be, but it was really gracious of you to come on. So thank you very much. Totally appreciate it.
If you ever want me again, just get a hold of me. You know where I'm at.
We will. Trust me, we will. We might come out with cameras ourselves and put you on interview right there. You can walk around and do the interview. We'll do pre-records. How's that? That'll be fun.
Well, I want to thank you, Larry. Thanks, Dolly. Thank you, everyone who took the time to show up. And we really appreciate you guys taking times out of your Monday evening to enjoy our little Monday night parties. Thank you, Namaste and Cherise Bazilla, and really all of you guys. We truly appreciate it. Dolly, I know you wanted to give a shout out to the show coming up after ours.
Yes, we have a cool show coming right behind us, so y'all stay on because it's two real cryptid legends is coming on, and it's with Daryl Denton and Ron Moorhead and Michelle DeRoche, our wonderful head of our network. She's awesome. They start at 10 p.m. and you should catch the show. It's supposed to be really, really good. I want to thank you all for coming to the Lightgate tonight's the Lighthouse. I'm conflating now. We love y'all. We want you to have a great time. Please go check this place out. If you're going out west, it should be one of the main attractions that you go by. You should. You absolutely should. It's awesome. Thank you again, everyone, for coming. We're broadcasting to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM, and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast. We are on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on Rumble, and we're on YouTube. Y'all have a great week. And remember, next week, just before we come on Monday, we are flashing forward because daylight savings time mostly starts, except for Arizona. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.